Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Keith with Positively Osceola. Welcome to another one of our In the Loop live shows. We love the fact that we get to slow down in the mid-afternoon or just before dinner time and have a conversation with community leaders. And I've said this before, to us, that's a big deal because, you know, if you look into the internet, you look into social media, so much different information is out there for all of us, certainly on the national side, international side, but certainly in the local side. And I say this also, what applies to our daily lives so often and so rapidly is what's taking place in the local communities. So whether that be state, county, or city, it certainly applies to all of us, and it applies quite frequently. So today, we're super glad to be able to have with us the Osceola County Board of County Commissioners Chairman and Commissioner from District 3, Brandon Arrington. How you doing, sir?
Good, Keith. Thanks so much for having me again.
Glad to have you. Like I said, I know you're super busy, and we love having you on because you guys know what's going on in and around the county, and we don't take guests. We're going right to the source. And,
that's great. I always appreciate being able to give the opportunity to give out some of the great information the county's up to.
Very cool. You guys are busy. So how's your day been? A little cooler today.
It is. It is definitely a little bit cooler. As you can tell, I got a sweater on. It's one of the 5 to 6 days of the year I get to wear either a jacket or a sweater, right, and not sweat. So this will probably be the only day you'll see me in this all year long. But I'm gonna enjoy it while I can. That's for sure.
Yeah, you know how it is too. It'll be late March, and we'll be. How are we at 89 already? It just is. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's amazing. You know, we got to live for these days while we've got them, as I always tell people. Pretty much from the end of December to right about the beginning, mid-March is our good time here for sure.
Yeah, my family, you know, I'm at SeaWorld a lot during the holidays, and all the trees are up, and it's all, all the parks are beautiful in the holidays. And we went back this last weekend, and it was really cold on one of those. I think it was Friday or Saturday. Hey, got the dog going when I mentioned SeaWorld.
Sorry about that. You got to love live interaction every now and again. You might have to mute me real quick, but
that's all good. Hey, it's real world. It's real world. Hey, how you doing? Gotta bring your dog on next time. Anyway, so we were. It's all right. It's all good.
Let's go. Good boy. Good boy. All right. Sorry about that.
It's all right. I think we talked about this a couple years ago. That'd have been, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
Yes, and now it's almost second nature. For sure.
But real life. But real life.
1 second. I'm gonna have to put him up real quick.
Go ahead, do it. Take it. I'll keep chatting. We'll keep chatting while the chairman is taking care of his dog real quick. It's all good in the neighborhood. I was talking about SeaWorld being so cold last weekend, and it was so cold. It was colder than the holiday season, and we were saying, "Gosh, I wish SeaWorld would put the Christmas trees back in the water areas because it was so cold." Hey, he's back.
Yeah, I am. You gotta love animals. That's for sure. At least it's not a kid coming up and pulling something away from me as I'm talking, right? That we get to see so often online.
Yeah, I know. It's a good thing. I've got 3 German Shepherds, and they don't ask whether it's okay whether they can bark or not. It's all good.
I sometimes think they wait for me to have a quiet moment. That's usually when
they want to come on too.
Right now. They're gonna do their best to embarrass me to death tonight. That's for sure.
No big deals. Just goes to show you we're not. This is not. We weren't aiming for perfection. We're aiming for fun.
That's right. Well, you know, it's good, but once again, glad to be here. Glad to have to deal with EJ, who's why I do so. So.
Well, we can make this official. See if the dogs will sing along. Sound good?
That sounds like a plan.
All right. See you in a bit. Well, again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola in one of our shows. This is In the Loop, and we are with the chairman of the Osceola County Board of County Commissioners. That is from District 3, Commissioner Brandon Arrington, the chairman. How you doing again?
Great, sir. Great. Just dealing with my 2 unruly dogs. But other than that, I'm doing wonderful.
Like I said, you don't want me to unleash my 3. That would be 5. We'd be out of order. So
that sounds right.
So why don't you go ahead and one of the beauties of having you on is I don't have to say too much. This is really about what you want to update the community and what's going on in and around the county, what the board's doing, and anything else you want to share today. Really,
sure, that'd be great, Keith. Thanks so much. One of the things I want to really get a chance to talk on about is some of our COVID assistance opportunities here in Osceola County. A lot of people feel like some of the COVID programs have ended, and a lot of communities they have. But here in Osceola County, we've never stopped using some of our federal dollars to keep folks in Osceola County housed and fed. And one of the programs that's still available to today is our rental assistance and utility assistance programs that are available to residents of Osceola County who have been impacted negatively financially by COVID, whether that's illness, loss of wages, or just being impacted overall. We encourage you to go to our site, osceola.org, and you can also check out our other site, that is housing.osceola.org. That will give you all kinds of information about some of the programs and opportunities to apply for housing assistance here in Osceola County. And there's 3 specific programs that deal with this opportunity. The first is the rental/mortgage and utility assistance that's available to renters and homeowners alike. We want to make sure we can keep residents here in Osceola County housed. We don't want to have people get foreclosures on their credit scores. And also we want to give the opportunity for landlords to recoup some of those lost revenue that they may have not been able to regain during COVID because of their tenants' loss of wage or occupation. So it's a program that works not only for the renter, but also for the landlord. We also have a program that was chaired by Commissioner Janer, really big in this effort. And it's a program aimed specifically at our elderly and disabled citizens here in Osceola County. So if you are over the age of 62 and you also were impacted negatively due to COVID, once again, reach out to our opportunities at osceola.org and see if you were able to apply for some of those revenues that are out there. If you're a senior, you can receive up to 6 months rent stabilization so you can stay in being able to reside in the home you currently live in. So it's a great opportunity. So please check it out. And then there's also the Eviction Prevention program that we have as well. And that's our last one. So if you are facing foreclosure or eviction, you can go to our office that we've set up over at the John B. Morgan Courthouse. And that office is open on Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 5. And it's a prevention office that will work with your landlord, your bank, and also try to, there again, keep you in your home. We know how important it is to keep everyone in their home, whether it's a renter or a homeowner, because we know how impactful foreclosures and evictions are to not only people's credit scores, but their life as a whole, and trying to keep their kids in a stable environment as well. So we encourage everyone to go and check out these programs and to see if you're available. And also if you know a friend, a neighbor, or perhaps an employee or someone else, your coworker you might work with, that that might be in a tough situation due to COVID, have them reach out to us as well. Because like I said, I think there's still $14 million worth of assistance. We've helped over 4,000 clients so far with some of these funds, totaling about $31 million. So we're grateful that the federal government provided us with these funds, and we want to make sure they actually get into the hands of Osceola County citizens.
That's the big deal, obviously. And I remember when this was first coming out, I think one of the things that I was hearing at a local level, certainly, and in the national level as well, was that we did not want to see that same situation that happened in 2008, where people were just out of their homes. It was just, I mean, this was the level of devastation or more. Nobody could see it coming. How could we have seen it coming? It was something that basically started hitting us in this area in that January. And by March, we were in a completely different world. And I think the quick action, I'm just saying from an observer of this, it seemed like it put that where it wasn't going to happen to us again, basically, 12 years later, when the meat of that problem happened in the Great Recession. So do you see it from where you guys were?
Keith, you're exactly spot on. the available funds the federal government made available to communities to be able to set up programs like this prevented just that. I mean, you're talking about Osceola County, who had the highest unemployment in the entire state of Florida. Once the pandemic set in April of 2020. And so in the same thing when it happened in 2008 with the Great Recession and the housing burst there, Osceola County was once again one of the higher unemployment areas in the state of Florida. And the mass foreclosures we saw also not only impaired homeowners, but it's continued to impair our rental market, because what happened in 2009 is we had hedge funds come in and buy homes in bulks, and they were able to bundle them like it was an apartment loan, being based on per individual unit. And so we've had major hedge fund companies come in and take up a bulk percentage of a lot of those single family residences that are rental markets. And so they're able to control some of the rental markets as well. And I would tell you that's kind of contributed to the affordability of rentals in our area as well. So I think the help of the federal government, the quick action, and then obviously local governments being able to get that money into the hands of citizens, I think has gone a long way. I know if you just think about all the individuals that were able to, that lost their jobs during the pandemic, just from a rental standpoint.
Sure.
If you unfortunately get an eviction on your credit score, it's awfully hard to get back into another rental opportunity. And so that's a huge deal, because we want to make sure people still have that availability to rent in good communities as they work their way up through the labor market. And so to me, it was critically imperative that we actually get those funds in people's hands and keep people housed, because it affects our kids, affects the overall education system. It affects our entire job market at the end of the day. So I'm thankful for the federal government doing what they did.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly see proof that it's affected every level of whether it's the whole commercial job, commercial development, residential development, everything's been affected, no question about it. And we're still working through all that. So how does somebody, again, let's go ahead one more time and say how somebody, I've got to think one of the deterrents from people reaching out is that emotional decision. You say, oh, it won't apply to me. I'm not even going to take the 3 minutes to look on the site.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I mean, here again, I think people who have been impacted that never thought they were individuals that would need help from whether it's their community or from their local government. And I would encourage anyone that's been impacted negatively due to COVID. And like I said, once again, if financially, if you have been impacted by COVID, whether that's health related or just employment related, check out the opportunity. I mean, we've got $14 million available. And I would hate for an individual to have, to be afraid or have too much pride to apply for an opportunity to help benefit them or their families here in our community.
Yeah, I feel like I think we talked a little bit about this last time when we were talking about it as we just got ready to start the show today. But I think the initial Great Recession, that time was a catalyst for discussion, which led, if I'm going to say, I'm making it simple, but it wasn't all that simple, I'm sure. But it led to the Neo City development, and we were just saying we're starting to see some return on that investment. We're certainly seeing a lot of action right now. And who would have thought that at this time in our lives, we're talking about sensors being, shortage of sensors, shortage of things that are possibly coming to our area with a lot more work, of course, in some time. Anything you want to say about that?
Well, and thanks. When I got elected, my goodness, 13 years ago, when I first got elected, Osceola County didn't have a strategic plan. And when I say that for anything, whether it was a strategic plan of how to grow, how to develop, how any of those elements, we didn't have any long range visions in Osceola County. And I'll associate that specifically to our growth pattern, where we had a lot of urban sprawl and wide outspread growth. And then the commission before me laid out a new vision for growth, set up an urban growth boundary. But since we've been able to come in and we've had Don Fisher as our county manager, we really started a strategic planning process of how we begin to change Osceola County in the long term to make it the community we want it to be. We've done massive development layouts to the year 2060 to lay out the new development for Osceola County and how that comes in, what that infrastructure looks like, how mixed use it is. So we were able to better plan for the growth that's coming in the future, as opposed to the growth that happened to us yesterday. We did the same thing when it came to economic development. And this was probably 10 to 11 years ago. The county manager and I sat down, and we had just competed for another economic development project that we did not win. And when I say that, economic development by local governments is pretty much done the same way by everybody. A company, will say in Connecticut, decides they want to move and expand and relocate to another state. Right. So every local government puts together a package of tax incentives, of lands, of any way they can entice this company to leave another community and come to our community. And everyone plays the same game. And so we began to have a discussion about, well, how do we change that? How do we stop using the same model as everyone else to try and change our economy? And instead, let's take a practical approach to focus our economic development around two things: infrastructure and education. And with the belief that if we created the infrastructure for business to be successful, and we created the education pipelines that created a higher educated workforce, we would begin to be able to lift our economic development opportunities here in Osceola County. Fast forward, we did a cluster study, we did a couple of different studies, and we picked up some land real cheap on a couple of real estate deals. And hence here we are 12 years later with Neo City being a 500-acre development with a 100-acre water retention pond that's helping to purify water that goes into Lake Toho that flows down to the Everglades, and 400 acres of raw land that we're able to chart our own destiny from an economic development standpoint here in Osceola County. And you're right, Keith. When we started talking about sensors and looking at sensors, and when we were over in Eindhoven and Leuven and talking to IMEC about the opportunities, to us it was clear there was growth potential in this industry. I think in the time they said there was going to be 1.2 million jobs created in this sector over the next 15 years. We saw the opportunity of how Austin grew, how New York with the SUNY model was able to grow and develop that industry. And so we followed those same models and then went and recruited some of the top tier businesses globally to come be partners. And it's taken off. We finally do have a lot of attention, not only from our governor here in the state of Florida, recently granting us $6 million, but also from the federal government, where we've received over $40 million from the Department of Defense to work on opportunities with the Department of Defense. But we've also just received a $500,000 grant from the Build Back Better opportunities from the federal government, which puts us in line for an opportunity to receive a $100 million grant from the federal government to move forward. And then we're continuing to chase dollars also in the CHIPS Act of the federal government with the help of Congressman Soto. So it's a real long plan and how we got here. But as a kid who sold watermelons on the corner of John Young and Main Street, I can tell you our economy has been tourism and construction and ag for most of my life. And we unfortunately have seen how those two of those three industries, whether it's tourism and construction, get negatively impacted more so than other industries during downturn in the economy. And we're trying to figure out a way to, one, keep our kids here in Osceola County so they've got opportunities for great jobs and can stay close to their parents, because we have a huge brain drain that happens with most of our college-going kids from Osceola County that go off to other areas. And so that's really important. But also just to be able to grow and raise the wages here in our community is also of huge importance to me. I think that's one of the key factors that we have to work on from a local government standpoint is how do we raise property values for you as an individual property owner, and how do we grow individual income so our citizens have more money in their pocket and more time in their hands as well.
Yeah, no, I think maybe outside Central Florida, maybe outside Florida, people think theme parks were really devastated as far as the employees, the team members, the cast members. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're still in effect right now, but it's not just that. It riddled through all the service industry between restaurants, the hotel industry, everybody that's involved with tourism. That just blew right through all those sectors, and certainly tough to come back from all that, but certainly everybody's working hard to make that happen. One thing, when you were just discussing some of the support coming into Neo City, You mentioned it's kind of on a bipartisan. So you've got the governor, you've got you've got national, you've got the governor, you've got local. That's a lot of people taking note that the decision was wise and coming into fruition. A lot of work left, sure.
There is, and I try to remind people that the vision of NeoCity and the build out, it's really a 30-year plan.
Right.
And I know that sounds challenging, but I often tell people to try and look towards Lake Nona and Medical City and how that worked and the progression of that over time. Because I think it was back in 2008, I drove by and it was a pasture. I mean, there were literally cows there. And now it is a thriving community with unbelievable property values and communities coming in. You've got Disney now bringing in 2,000 employees from California to Medical City area as well up in Lake Nona. So it's another great model, but it's also a model to show how long it takes sometimes to get big ideas moving and get them across the finish line as well.
Yeah, I'll give you some kudos. I mean, honestly, and I mean it sincerely, I think most people don't like to long range sow seeds because it does take a while. And sometimes our folks are interested in getting the big flag, the big pennant right away. And it's that long-term planting that really matters for many lives and many sectors of the economy. So glad you guys did it.
I appreciate it.
I've always liked it. Anything else you want to share today?
I think that's probably the best part. I tell people to obviously, if they go to, once again, if you are in need of assistance, reach out to Osceola.org, our website, but also housing.osceola.org, and please apply. And also, I know a lot of people are still impacted by food opportunities.
Right.
And I encourage individuals to please check your local food banks. I've been working with St. Rosa Lima down in Pleasant Hill Road, going towards Poinciana. My goodness, since April of 2020, when myself and other staff members of the county started helping out at their food bank, because the numbers doubled and tripled, and a lot of those were senior volunteers. And so the county was shut down, so we were able to all get together and participate and help. But be on the lookout. And then the other one big thing is, I know a lot of people were concerned about COVID testing. And so Osceola County went ahead and took the effort to expand some of our COVID testing sites as well. So those opportunities are out there. So please, once again, check out Osceola.org, and you can find out more information as well about that. And because we wanted to make sure, and that one is, for that, you can go to Osceola.org/COVID-19, and you can check out all of our testing sites, because we knew there was a lot of apprehension, and we wanted to make sure our residents, Osceola County, had a chance to look at that. And then also from a COVID standpoint, and I just want to end on this, and some of the funding we received. Osceola County, when we received some of our federal money, and we were looking at best ways to, how do we use these funds to really spur opportunity here in our community. And one of the things that we saw that was hugely impacted was the post-secondary education rates of students here in Osceola County once COVID happened. We had seen great numbers increase, specifically in District 3 with the Valencia campus and some of those opportunities, but it dropped off a cliff once COVID happened. And so we set aside $15 million to help provide scholarships to unemployed and underemployed individuals as well. So those individuals can get new skills and hopefully get a higher paying job and not a job, but really a career. I mean, that's what we're hoping to build with some of this training opportunities through Valencia and our school district as well. And hopefully, Keith, here in the coming months, we're working with Valencia and I know the school district, and hopefully I'll have a really big announcement in the coming weeks that we'll be able to share and start spreading around the county about something very unique this commission is just trying to do, and also work with our partners once again at Valencia and the school district to try and pull off something really, really creative that'll go a long way in impacting folks in Osceola County.
It's great. Look forward to it. I know I don't remember who I was talking to recently. I admit I really don't remember who it was, but the conversation was looking back when there wasn't a Poinciana campus of Valencia. There wasn't a Valencia Poinciana campus, and how long it took those kids who were trying to learn, 2 hours.
2 hours.
That's right.
2 hours. There.
I mean,
and 2 hours back.
Yeah, I mean, to add that into the commitment that somebody, a young person or an older person wants to improve themselves and
Yeah.
position themselves differently. It's a completely additional challenge. So
Yeah.
that's not the way it is anymore. But I can remember when it was, and I know you know better than I. So
yeah, no, that's a lot of hard work went into getting that campus, but it is a game changer for that community because, getting education, it shouldn't be an impediment to get education. And you know what I mean? And transportation to education was that impediment. And
Yeah,
so
it
we wanted
was.
to remove it for them.
Well, I know you had a big part in that, so we thank you. Certainly, Dr. Polensky is doing a great job out there right now. So we'll look forward to your announcement.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much, Keith. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day, Osceola.
All right. Again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola, along with the chairman of the Osceola County Board of County Commissioners, Commissioner Brandon Arrington from District 3, together making a positive difference in and around Osceola. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.